Hi team, this is Fawzi Ali. This is another video on Snowflake. The subject of today is Snowflake, Airflow, and DBT. It is an end-to-end data engineering project. So let's start. So who am I? I'm Fawzi Ali. I'm BI Data Warehouse Architect, Data Modeler, and Technical Project Manager. So I cleared this certification for Snow Pro Essential and Snow Pro Advanced Architect, and I am member from in Snow Squad 2024, and I cleared some badges. So the focus is on the data. For today, we have the environment setup. We have Snowflake part. We have DBT part. We have Airflow with Astro, and I'm using as recommended Visual Studio Code. So we need to initialize DBT project, and we need to do a lot of work with the DBT. We need to seed some static and reference files. We need to load staging table, load MART using surrogate key, see the incremental load, see how to deploy slowly changing dimension. We will use some macro as reusable function with Jinja syntax, and we do some tests. And finally, we need to use Airflow to as a scheduler to trigger all the tasks. So here with the installation, we have the pip install DBT Snowflake, we have DBT core, and we download Astro, and we set the environment variable. We install Docker desktop. I'm using this version because for the last version I faced some issues. So for Snowflake setup, we create the data warehouse, database, schema, and the role, and all the required objects. For the DBT setup, we create a folder. We use the command dbt init to initialize the project structure. Sure, we can use dbt cloud, but I'm using the desktop command line. Here, when we initialize the project, we need to provide some information like the account, the password, the role, the database, or the required. And after the execution of the command, we will see this project structure. So we need to use dbt debug just to check if the connection is successful. At least it's okay. For the DBT project, here we have the name, the version, and we have the profile that will use the credential to connect Snowflake, and we have the regular structure for test, for seed, for macro, for snapshot, and the essential part here for the model, here the project name, and we need to materialize the object in the staging model in the STG schema, and it will be materialized as table. And for the MART staging, or the MART folder, it will be materialized in the MART schema, and the object will be materialized as tables. So here we have the package YAML. I'm using this package dbt lab slash dbt utils just to use some routines to generate the surrogate key. So we need just to update the package YAML file and then execute dbt deps to create the dependency. This is the profile. So we have the project and the account, the password, all the required credentials to connect Snowflake. To load, it is not recommended because DBT it is data build tool only for transformation, but for some exception, we can use DBT seed just to populate some table from local files. Here I'm using three files, customer order and payments. And we are using DBT seed just to populate the content. Here we have the models for staging. So we have customer SQL and order SQL and payment SQL. It will be using this SQL just to populate the content from the raw customer, and this table are seeded from the CSV files. When we execute dbt run, we will select the target here for the staging. For example, we will populate the three model in three tables. and we can check after that that the content is uploaded as required. It is the same here for models in the MART model, and here we are using a macro, the macro discount SQL that will be executed just as a function to calculate here the payment discount. For example, it is a reusable component in DBT, and then we execute the DBT run by selecting the MART. Here we see that the surrogate key is executed, and we have a hash here for the surrogate key, and the discount is calculated. I think it is 15% from the global amount. For the incremental load also, I have another use case, and we need just to do some config in the model. Here with the materialized is incremental, and we are using the unique key, and here we have some syntax to test if it is incremental. So we need just to check if the load is greater than the max load from the current table. So we need to simulate the current, the incremental load. So this is the first full load, and then we just add one row, I think, for this example, and do the load again, and we will see that the load is done only for the new record, and the STG load time give us this check. For the slowly changing dimension also, we need to change the model with the config that the strategy, it will be timestamp, and we are using the update at as colon for the update at. The slowly changing dimension SC2, slowly changing dimension type 2, it will be tested by the following data. Here, the first check, we have all the rows, and when we update the row, I think we just change the status to delivered, and we will see that after executing the DBT snapshot command, we will see that we have some additional columns. This is the slowly changing ID, and we have update at valid from valid to, and we see that the change is here is keeping the history. So the row, the new row with valid to is null, and the previous row is closed with from to date. So for the generic dataset tests, we have also a file called schema YAML that we are using just to structure some tests. Here, for example, for the customer ID, it should be unique, it should be not null. Its order ID it is the same. For the status, it should be a list of value. So we just need to execute DBT test, and all the tests will be executed. Here, all the tests are successful. If we need to do some singular tests, we can create some SQL file, and we put our condition and then execute under the test folder, and when they execute, we'll see that the test is executed successfully. Now we will go to the part of Airflow and Astro. So we have Astro dev init to initialize a structure of DBT DAG. We have also the doc file that we need just to update it. Here we have from this path, we need just to run Python with virtual environment. Then we need to install DBT Snowflake. And then for the DBT DAG Python, we have this template that we need just to update with the target name, the connection ID, the database, and the schema. Here we start the server, and we need just also to start the Docker desktop. We'll see that all components are up and running. It is essential to copy the project, the DBT project, under the DAG folder of the Airflow project structure. and then we need just to Astro dev start command to start the service. And here we go, we have the airflow console with the tree. We need just to update the airflow Snowflake connection, and then we have the graph. This is all the models that we executed in Snowflake. We need just to execute on run here to execute all the stuff. I have some failure, and finally I uh, got the successful execution. And we can see also some logs. Here we have the calendar scheduler for the required tasks. And finally, I need just to generate the documentation with some commands. Here we can have the catalog JSON, or we can just populate that in the internal server at the port here, for example, 8001, and we will see the documentation and we see the graph. So thank you for watching. This is all that we see today. So here we have the DBT project YAML. This is the important configuration file that describe how the object will be materialized. Here the target which will be STG, and the type is table. It is the same table, but here we have the marked. Here we have the schema YAML for the generic tests. We have the table, the column, and all the tests is unique or list of value. So here we have DBT seed. It will be populate the raw schema with the reference data or the static data in the CSV files. So before executing the seed command, here we see that the DBT schema, there is no object. So here the command seed is executed, it is successful. So let's see if we refresh here Snowflake, we'll see that we have three tables created. Here we have raw customer and we have order, and if we'll see also the data preview. So here we will execute the DBT run by selecting the staging schema. Staging. As a result, the staging tables are populated successfully. So let's see now the marked schema. The marked schema is populated successfully. So we can see here marked schema. Here we have the customer order. Here a customer data preview. Here we see that we have the surrogate key here, and also we have the discount using the macro here. The macro here we have discount SQL, and it will calculate 15% from the amount, and it is used in the marked customer here. We are using DBT utils to generate the surrogate key, and we are also doing a call to the macro to calculate the discount. Now we will simulate an incremental load, so we need just to add colon because the table are loaded with so here we alter the table by adding a new column. Then we update this table. And then we need just to insert table. Before inserting, we need just to populate because it is a new table. we are running DBT staging to populate the incremental customer table. So the incremental table here is successfully loaded. So let's query the incremental customer. So here you have the same timestamp for loading the 100. Now I will try to add one row in the source table for the row table. Or you need just to and we need just to re-execute the DBT staging run. And we will see that only this one row is loaded incrementally and there is no full load. So all is done successfully. So let's check the content of the table. So as you can see here, we have this is the only row that I added, and you see that the timestamp is different from the other timestamp. So this is done via incremental load. So only the changed rows in the source are loaded. So it is successful. So now we will test the slowly changing dimension type 2. I create a source table here. I don't know if the table exists. Oh, it is. We need to drop it and create it again. We need to drop the table, create it again. Drop command. We need to write row. So let's create a table. So the table is created. Let's insert some random data. So here, the SRC order created. Now we need to test the content of the table. And for the slowly changing here under the snapshot, we have here the content of the table. So we have target schema and strategy is timestamp and the update at is the colon. So here we need just to execute the DBT snapshot. So we need just to truncate the table before. This is the snapshot table. Then we need to execute DBT snapshot. So the snapshot is created successfully. Let's check the content of the table. So we have here the snapshot has the same content as the source table. You see there is no DBT valid 2. So now we need just to update one row. It is the order ID 4. Once updated, we need just to apply the DBT snapshot again. And we see that the ID 4, we will have a new row with no and date validity, and the previous row will be closed with an and date, and it is done in the background by DBT. So the snapshot execution is done successfully. Let's check the content of the slowly changing table demo, and now we will see that this is the for this is the new one, and this is the previous one, and we'll see that DBT valid 2 is closed in the 10/1/2024. So this is the demo for the incremental update. So here for the tests, we need just to apply the DBT test to execute all the tests, singular or generic, so it would be successful. Sorry. We see here that all tests are executed successfully. Here I already created the structure of the Airflow project with Astro dev init, and I already copied the DBT project under the DAG folder of Airflow project, and this is the content. We go now here. We see that this is the DAG, and this is my DBT project. And here we have the Airflow setting YAML is this setting, and we have here the Docker file, and here the DBT DAG that we are using. So here the path for the project, and here we have the database and the schema and the default environment. Here we have Docker, and we have all the service here are running. So for the Docker, all the services are running. So here the Astro dev start will execute this the starting of the server, and we'll see this is the DAG. So our DAG is here. So we need just to explore the content. We need to just do some config here, the configuration, admin and configuration for the connection. Here we have the connection is already configured. Is already for Snowflake and with the database and all the credential. If we go to the DAG here, we will see the graph of our DBT tasks. And we see the logs, all the execution log journal. Here's the graph. And it is scheduler. We can see also the calendar here. The execution planned for the next months. We come back and we can execute here. For example, we can manually trigger the execution, and we see that the execution will start. And here the last execution here in progress, and we'll see that the light green will be transferred in the dark green if all is successful, or it is warning, or it is a fatal error to be read. So it is in progress. So here we have the row seed. The seed is done for the 3 seeds, and we have also now STG customer. Is in progress. Here we can see the monitoring under monitoring query history, all the executed jobs from Airflow and DBT. Here the execution is in progress. The seed portion here is dark green, so it is okay, and the staging is in progress. Running. So here the previous execution is complete. And I run another execution just to see because I have faced a timeout, so it is okay. So let's see the last command for DBT just to generate the documentation. So here we have so here we execute DBT doc serve port 8001, and we will see documentation to be generated. So here we see that Airflow executed all the tasks successfully here. Here we have the documentation generated. So we have the DBT project, all the macro, the models, the art, staging, feeds, the snapshot that we tested. We have the database here. We have DBT with DBT schema and the MART staging and all the stuff for database. And we see also here the tree graph for all the models and tasks done by. So here we see a lot of things. Thank you for watching. So if I will summarize here, come to the page just to see that what we see here is the integration between Snowflake, DBT, Airflow. We see how to initialize DBT project, config files with the YAML extension, and we see how to populate static files, load the MARTs,